I take refuge in the Buddha, I take refuge in the Dharma, and I take refuge in the Sangha. Good morning. I know it's been a while, but I promise this gift that I'm about to give you came from the silence of the deep inner work that I've been putting in the last, actually quite a while anyways. As you know, I'm in my nervous system, and I've been in the soul of my nervous system. What does the soul of the nervous system looks like? Well, my nervous system and majority of humans on the planet nervous system has been programmed and was wired to a stress response, because which comes from that survival mode that we were programmed into, or the survival states of consciousness and so forth. And recently, when I had what I call an explosion of my nervous system, releasing its charge, is build up of charge by someone, a family member, being able to penetrate my consciousness, going directly into that survival mind, into that amygdala. Okay. Because of this inner work journey, I was able to map out the process, and that's why I've been in silence, because here is why. The primal strategies arousal is what I call it, or the triggering of that old brain, okay, the survival mind. Because of this inner work cultivation, we develop, we eventually come into a state of what in Buddhism refer to as pure awareness. And so this time, because of pure awareness, I was able to witness the initial trigger as it actually started, as it was coming into formation. Okay, and as I was witnessing this trigger, I consciously attempted to communicate. Right? Because, and this is what happens, unfortunately, when we're not doing this work, we unconsciously try to communicate. So huge difference between those two, okay? So I consciously attempted to communicate with the source that I thought was causing the trigger. And while the source may have played a role in this arousing of this trigger, and they decided, no, I don't want to talk about it. I'm working, and I'm, and I'm witnessing this trigger, building and building. So there was a buildup of charge that was now happening in my system. Okay. And then the fourth thing that happened was the meltdown, because after trying 2 more times to, attempt to communicate, to resolve what my, old brain, survival mind, and my nervous system was showing me it needed to resolve, the meltdown happened. And the meltdown resulted in me stomping and like crying, just like stomping and screaming like a child. And I thought, oh my God, I just acted like I'm 2 years old or something. Interesting. That's definitely, so now I'm aware that, this meltdown that I'm having is associated with something from my childhood. And so, I after the meltdown, of course, naturally what immediately happened was I felt shame and guilt. And from shame and guilt emerges stress, right? And the stress response, remember, is where my heart, that state of consciousness that my heart was locked into, right? And so from the shame and guilt, normally the old version of myself would beat myself up, and this is what majority of people do, right? We would crucify ourselves for acting the way we do and so forth. And then sitting with myself, taking that time out, which is why I've been offline here, is I started to examine. I'm like, I'm aware enough now to know that when anything happens, it's here to teach me something about myself. So I decided to sit with the demon, sit in the cave, embrace, bow to the demon, to the darkness, and listen. Okay, I started to ask myself the question, like, what unmet parts of me that the trigger, was trying to communicate through this meltdown, right? And sure enough, that question was powerful enough to, like, boom, open up the portal, of showing me, oh my God, I long to feel, being heard. I long to feel understood, this longing since childhood. Like, my God, this is what I've been carrying. I have a desire for cooperation. I have a desire to be considered, in all of my relationships, right? Because I'm tired of being forced out and pushed out because I am different, okay? A young part of me needed comfort and reassurance, because my heart did not feel safe and secure. Like, wow. One question, the right question, okay? I needed reassurance that I'm truly seen, that I'm truly understood, that I'm truly heard, that I'm truly received. And I needed to feel cared for, okay? I needed to feel care about, okay? I long, okay, not to always get punished the way my mom punished me as a child. I longed to be accepted even in my fudging messiness, all of it, okay? Without being judged for it or without being punished for it. How many of you beautiful beings from the depths of your soul can relate to these longings? Okay, I long to be forgiven for the silly mistakes that I did make in my life, to be forgiven, okay? And this is where the breakthrough happened. That fear of punishment, okay, resulted in my heart not feeling safe and secure as a child, okay? And in my relationships, and all of my relationships, beautiful beings. And I didn't, as a result of that, I never felt, loved by anything outside of me. And of course, my heart surgery kind of just, multiplied that 100-folds, right? And then all of a sudden, because of this beautiful question, okay, and I invite you to ask yourself this question the next time you experience a trigger and have an explosion of any kind, okay? Because what I discovered is I can help myself by doing for my physical body, I can help. So in relation to my heart health, okay, I can help myself by doing the best that I can protocol when it comes to eating, okay? I can create a sacred space, an environment at home to feel on and honor myself, okay? And love my heart and help it cultivate a feeling of safety and security that I was looking for outside of myself, okay? Security from me taking loving, mindful care of myself. Beautiful beings, this is what the darkness, the dysregulation, the shadows within us, this is the depth of love that it's looking for, okay? To feel understood and supported, okay, and not skewed by resentment, judgment, unconsciousness, comparisons, jealousy, whatever the case may be, okay? Those were the soothing that my heart sought prior to my explosion. And today I'm here to remind you that during your triggers, beautiful beings, it is up to you to give yourself the comfort, the reassurance that you're seeking, okay? This is what your heart, your soul is, your darkness, this is what it's wanting you to see, okay? So how am I not meeting myself in my relationships, in the areas that I seek externally? Was my breakthrough. And that's a question I invite you to explore in your journal. I love you. Start by honoring the intelligence of your stress response.